Thanks for joining Trots TV for part 3 of Inside My Stable with Belinda and Luke McCarthy. In this final instalment, we meet Belinda McCarthy and learn more about her, while Luke is back to discuss the plans for the future.
You grew up with horses. You're part of the Lamb family. Tell us about your childhood.
Yeah, Mum and Dad, they've got 1,500 acres at Canowindra, so it's just Tracy and I. So Dad wanted boys, but it didn't really happen. And yeah, we just we had Mum and Dad always had to start with probably had 400 horses, and they did the breeding, and they used to train a few as well, and you know, sold a lot of yearlings and that. And we ran a few sheep and went to school locally, and yeah.
So you grew up on Golden Gate Stud?
Yes.
And was that a fond memory of your childhood?
Yeah, it was beautiful. It really was. We're actually got Golden Gate on the market now for sale, and it was a little bit. Tracy and I didn't want to sell, but you know, we realised it's too much acreage for Mum and Dad, and they've bought another property in town to scale down their business, and yeah, it was a beautiful place to grow up.
So when you were growing up, did you think I'm going to be involved in horse racing when I get older?
Well, we always had the joke that, you know, I was going to go be a lawyer or something, or have the city life or something. But no, I always knew I'd be involved in horses in some way, especially with Mum and Dad doing it. But I probably didn't expect to be in it as much as what I am now. So,
take us through your schooling. You went to uni?
Yep, went to uni in Brisbane, did a Bachelor of Business, and then went on later and did a diploma in education.
And when you finished that, what did you do?
Well, I worked for Albion Park as their marketing and events coordinator for a while there, and then my sister and I did a bit of travelling around the world, and then I came back, did the diploma in education, then I was teaching, and then I was working with Luke, you know, the days I wasn't teaching, and then I went full-time PE teaching, and then I was just doing the horses with Luke, and we probably had too many in work that it was really either teaching or the horses. And then Luke and I went to America for 6 months, and then we've just been doing the horses ever since then, full time.
What did you think when you first saw this property when the Howletts had it up for sale?
Oh, it was perfect. We looked at it a couple of years before we bought it, and we made every excuse that it wasn't good and it wasn't this, because, you know, we really wanted it. And we looked around for a couple of years and never really found anything. Everything was like a blank canvas that we looked at, and we didn't really want to start from scratch. So this was just perfect. So, and you know, it's a beautiful home and that to raise kids, and yeah, it was just perfect.
Your stats as a trainer up until yesterday: 1,615 starters for 405 winners and 429 placings. Very, very impressive statistics. Who takes a defeat worse, you or Luke?
Well, I always blame the driver. If Luke drives bad, then I always turn around and blame the driver. And I always said owners, I've got it 100%. So if Luke or whoever's driving the stuff's up, go see them. But oh no, we're both pretty good. You know, it's just more, you feel for the owners, you know, especially you feel for the owners, and even ourselves, like we breed and I own a lot of horses too, and it's just, you know, you do know on the big days you put so much into it, and then if it doesn't pull off, yeah, it is shattering, but you know, you've got them next week and the next races to come, so you've just got to pull it all together.
What about the future? What this property looks fully set up, you don't need to do much more to it, so what does the future hold for you?
Oh, we'll just keep doing it. As I said, our numbers, we probably have cut down our numbers so we can focus more on a smaller number and what we're doing. We've got horses at the moment in Brisbane and Melbourne. You know, it's good to have horses that you can do that. So we'd like to, as I said, just keep buying yearlings. You know, hopefully we can get some good ones and keep just nominating for the big races, and hopefully, you know, just keep the team going that it is and get some World Group winners up.
How was that experience of going to the New Zealand Cup last year with For a Reason?
Oh, it was amazing. It was really good. He went probably one of the best races he's ever done too. You know, it would have been nice to pull it off, but it's a hard race to pull off. But just, as I said, things like that. You know, even when in the younger days when we got to travel, you know, with Slip and Slide and Fleur de Lille and horses like that, it's where you meet people, and that's the best part I think about the game. It's being able to travel, meet people, and have all those experiences.
So you've got. That's probably one of the best parts of the sport, the friends and the acquaintances you've made.
Yeah, definitely. And as I said, it's nice always to have horses to travel with, and that's what we're looking at more. Just, you know, building up the team where you can get some nice horses and be prepared to travel. Is there
a race that you would like to win? The Inter-Dominion?
We haven't got that one yet. I'd love to win the Inter-Dominion. It's the Melbourne Cup, you know, of harness, so that's what we'd love to get.
Where do you call home?
Home. This is home. Like, yeah, it's funny actually. I lived in Queensland for 10 years, but you know, it didn't feel like it. Like, we've been here now 4 years, but it feels like we've been here 10 years, you know, a lot longer. So obviously going up in Canandra will always be home, but now we've got our 2 girls, you know, this is where we want to make now our next home. And, you know, Cobbitty, Camden, it's a beautiful area, so we're really lucky.
Well, congratulations on what you've achieved in the sport, and no doubt there's going to be further riches to come for you guys in future seasons.
Thanks very much, Greg, and fingers crossed.
Decision to move to Sydney. Did you think it was time to go to where the centre of harness racing was going to be once they sold Harold Park and they had money at Menangle?
Yeah, for sure, Hazy, and I think, you know, maybe I was looking for a bit of a new challenge as well. You know, we'd sort of won the premiership in Brisbane for the last 8 years, and it was a great lifestyle, and I still love Brisbane. I got a lot of my best friends are there, but, you know, you could see the writing on the wall that New South Wales is going to be the mecca for harness racing, and I think in years to come it will stand up and will be the most dominant state for harness racing. And, you know, I love the track at Menangle. I think it's the best track in Australasia, and I like the racing, and, you know, as I said, the challenge. And another thing too, we were sort of lucky enough that we did have a few good horses come into the barn, and as the years have gone on, we've got a few more and hopefully continue to do so. And, you know, from Queensland to Melbourne, when we were going down for them races, it was a big haul on the horses. You know, you end up flying them a few times, and, you know, when we're based in Sydney, you can sort of duck down. You know, we've got a lot of Vic Breds in the stable now. You know, and even your Four Reasons and Bling It Ons to go down for a Victorian Cup. It's just down the road, whereas from Brisbane it was too far. And, you know, even for us to duck back to Brisbane, it's just central, and I do think it's the best place to train horses.
Did you, when you first came back, you had the good horses, but those metro horses, a lot of those were that you were training in Brisbane, or that the McCarthys had, off-cast from Sydney. So did you think that it was going to be a little bit tougher to get those bread and butter metro horses?
Yeah, definitely. We didn't really have a plan or anything when we come. We were just hoping we could pay the mortgage, you know, and just get by. And then, you know, we sort of come, and we had a few nice horses come into the barn, and Harvey Kaplan and Peter O'Shea have been terrific clients right from the start. Wasn't long after our Sixpence walked into the barn, and Gibson's from Success Stud owned her with Harvey, and, you know, she sort of hit the ground running and went on right through and won 600,000 the Ladyship Mile. But it was the races that they won going through the grades, and then all of a sudden we got a few more, and then we got some horses for Emilio and Mary, you know, and they always had a strong team of 8 to 10 horses here at all times that just went through the grades. And like I said, we didn't really have a plan, but it just kind of snowballed, the success, and, you know, we were just trying to develop the farm as well at the same time. And, you know, but we appreciate everything that we've had and got the horses to go through, but no, we've had a bit of luck too.
You've, as a trainer, you had 1,216 starters for 440 winners, 324 placings. So with Belinda's tally as well, as a partnership, 2,831 starters for 845 winners and 753 placings. So nearly 1,600 winners or placings from only 2,800 starters. Combined, you've got more Group 1s than any other trainer in Australia as well. That's a pretty big mark of how this stable operates.
Yeah, I'd say, Hazy, that's probably the most thing you'd be most proud of is the Group 1 winners. You know, like, we've probably scaled back a lot on what we were a couple of years ago for sure, numbers wise. And but, you know, we'd still like to try and win the group races. And you know, the fact that we've been lucky enough to win the most Group 1 races across the country, you know, that's a big thrill. And, you know, we'll just hopefully try and have them spot on them big days.
How important is the staff here?
Very, yeah. You know, we're lucky. We've got great staff, and, you know, all good to the horses, and, you know, loyal and reliable. And
back when you first came to Sydney and you had heaps of horses and people ringing the, you know, phone ring off the hook, people offering you horses, is it the same? Has it changed a little bit since then? Definitely.
You know, I think it's funny. I don't know whether it's a few things to do with the racing and that, but a lot of horses would come in and all the rest of it, but then we probably changed a little bit too. We sort of bought a few more yearlings in the last couple of seasons and have tried to develop the babies more into group winners and just taken every single horse, you know, you get offered. You know, you still get offered a few horses coming through, but, you know, I'd probably get more of a kick out of developing a nice baby, you know, and, you know, bring it on all eyes on us, them sort of horses to come through and hopefully turn into open company horses.
Is there a race you've won in Australia and that's given you the most satisfaction, or is there a particular race, a particular horse that has given you really good satisfaction?
Oh, I think any group race, Hazy, you know, probably the biggest one I'd say in the last few years was 4 Reasons Victorian Cup. You know, he went lame as an early 4-year-old and had that whole season out and went to the breeding barn, and at that time he'd earned 330,000 or something and was a 3-year-old. And, you know, when he come back into the barn, you know, we just never expected really anything. We were just hoping to get him back, and for him to come back and go 149 twice, you know, and compete at the top level and then go on and win a Victorian Cup, you know, and now he's made over $1 million. That's probably been, you know, my biggest satisfaction, you know, a horse like that, you know, I picked him out of the Sydney yearling sales and bought him, and we broke him in, and, you know, we've had him around since day one, and to see him go on now, and even as an 8-year-old still be at the races and racing highly competitive, you know, that's a big thrill.
I asked Belinda the same question, race she wants to win. She said the Inter-Dominion. Is that burn with you too?
Yeah, that, you know, I think everyone, even as any kid grows up involved in harness racing, the Inter-Dominion's the one race you want to win. Unless you're a Kiwi, it's a New Zealand Cup, but I'd still like to win that one too.
How was that experience last year, the New Zealand Cup?
Yeah, fantastic. You know, it was a good experience. We probably didn't take the right horse for it, but you know, because he hadn't had any standing start practice, and he's you know, he's a good horse, but it was just hadn't had that practice of the standing starts, which we don't have. But you know, it was a fantastic experience, and I actually probably think it was one of his best runs of his whole career. You know, he sat parked out, stayed Terror to Love. Chris and me sat on his back, couldn't get past him. You know, took a champion mare to beat him, and you know, but it was a big thrill to go and take him over for that race.
What does the future hold for Belinda and Luke McCarthy?
You know, if we can just continue to poke along and, you know, enjoy the kids, you know, that things change, I guess everyone would say it once you have children. You know, before the kids come along, horses are just your life full on. Now it's the kids, and, you know, the horses are your job, and, you know, you still love the horses, but, you know, if we can just try hopefully be healthy and successful and just poke along and just keep trying to get a good horse.
Will there be any more brothers or sisters for Lily and Maddie?
Hopefully a boy.
Hopefully a boy? All right, good as gold. Mate, thanks for having us inside your stable.
Yep, no worries, Hazy.